You don't have to be a millennial to be socially savvy. We believe anyone can join Generation Social Media, and your journey starts now. This is the Generation Social Media Podcast by Chatterkick. On today's podcast, we're going to be answering a question that was submitted at an event that Beth spoke at. The question is, we're a B2B business. Should we be posting on our personal account or our business LinkedIn account? What's your gut answer? Go for it.
Personal. Everybody wants to connect with a person more than a business. Now, that being said, I think that there's definitely a place for both. But I mean, it's part of our human nature. If we have a picture of a logo and we have a picture of someone that we know, we're going to be attracted to the person. We want to form real relationships with people. That's why the advertising of, the past just doesn't work the same as it did 20, 30 years ago. And I think that LinkedIn, the personal pages and just the news feed and the algorithm, I don't have inside information, but I do know that just comparatively, it still goes a long way if you post a post on LinkedIn, or I love the articles that are now available and they've been for a while. And don't forget about kind of refreshing your LinkedIn profile every once in a while. It doesn't have to be a resume. Please don't make it a resume. Nobody wants to see your resume. They want to see who you are. How can you help them? What are your passions? Who are you?
So I think there's definitely benefits to both posting on the business account and personal accounts, but there are definitely some really strong statistics and metrics that go along with why I'm posting on your personal is so important. So the first one is 38% of people are more likely to research a product or service when the CEO posts about it. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I think we see this across the board in all platforms, but even if you are a SaaS company, or even if you sell, products to consumers where you do not realize that the CEO's involvement and or appearance or just their general brand matters to your business. And I think that's where people get it wrong. So many times when you're searching for something, you want to find more information about that company. And we see this all the time with even consumer-based goods, where people no longer just trust a product they buy on Amazon. Maybe they'll buy it there, but they're still going to do research. Is this company environmentally conscious? Do they have good leadership? Are they bad to their employees? Are they US-based? There's so many things that people care about and different people care about that you want to give them a good representation of your company, and the leadership of your company makes such an impact on what you do and how you do it that metric doesn't surprise me at all. And I think, honestly, there's so many people not posting about their CEO, or their CEOs are not involved in these platforms. So, if you just inch your way in there, you're going to have a leg up on probably a lot of your competitors.
One thing that I always look for when I'm looking at brands or products or businesses, when I look at the CEO's accounts, are they living their brand? Are they actually showing that purpose on an everyday basis, or is this a job they check out and they're actually making some other actions that are completely separate from the brand? Do they really honestly believe in the brand? And most of the time they do. That's why they're in those roles and setting the purpose and vision for the company. But I think that's a really good indicator of whether or not they really believe, is what their profiles look like and what they're talking about.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of buying weird food on Amazon.
Highly influenced by
I always
anybody.
Try new things, and especially with food. My biggest thing is I want to make sure it's credible, safe. Whatever I'm buying has some legitimacy to it, because I'm going to be eating it.
Because it doesn't look legitimate when you bring it down.
My kids are always like, what is this?
You guys should come see our snack bar in our office. These weird snacks just pile up, and you're like, here's these cool snacks I bought. And everyone's like,
yum.
Wow, fried artichokes.
And they're pickled. But I do look at the brand's website. I want to see who it is. And I'm always really interested, because a lot of these places are small boutique kind of shops. And I want to know what the founder's story is. Why did they care to make that specific thing? And why are they doing it differently than what you could just find in a bottle or on the shelf? And I mean, if I'm doing that much research on my pasta, can you imagine what people are doing on large purchases?
Yeah,
or
something that costs a lot of money.
Something that costs a lot of money. I mean, I'm talking about like a $7 purchase here, not a $7,000 purchase. But if you think about that, most people are probably doing the same thing. I do not think that I am, maybe on the food side of things, but I am not that unique on the just people are doing research online and they want to know. They want to know so much more than just the ingredients or just the packaging.
Something that you said just now was like really interesting to me, that you go and read the CEO or the founder's story more so than the influencer that probably caught your attention in the first place. One of the statistics from this study was that, so we kind of talked about 38% of people are more engaged if a CEO posts. Only 32% are more likely to purchase a product when a celebrity posts about it. So it's actually less. So there's more power in the CEO posting about it. But the one that was the most influential, and we talk about this in another podcast about employee advocacy, but the most influential was 45% are more likely to research a product or service when employees post about it.
Yeah, I think that also kind of goes along the lines of, I really do believe that the world of influencer marketing has changed the way that brands, small, medium, large, all sorts, have thought about getting the message about their products and services out there. However, I do not think it's the magic pill, just like social media isn't the magic pill. Like, it's not about, can you just give somebody free product and tell them to, post about it. And you see this with celebrities all the time. How many things have some of these big celebrities posted that it's so inauthentic that you're like, great, I'm not going to buy that. I mean,
you don't use that product.
I don't use that product. But maybe I would if somebody would tell me a little bit that they didn't like about it, or, I see them wearing it in a way that feels natural. And sometimes that's just the skill of the influencer. But I think especially most small to medium-sized businesses, those influencer programs can be a ton of work to manage. They're very difficult to measure ROI. And so why not start with just putting your CEO, that is your biggest influencer, and then secondarily, your employees, getting them out on LinkedIn, posting regularly, showing them how to do it, putting all of their pictures nice on their page, making sure that, it's not a picture from 20 years ago, that people don't know you. I think there's some big opportunities there.
So your answer to this question, we're a B2B business, should I be posting on my personal or business account? The answer was personal, or a little bit of both, but personal. What kind of content should they be posting? I mean, if they're not doing this now, what do I post about?
I think the best thing to post about is answer the questions. What questions do you get every single day from your customers?
The FAQs.
The FAQs. And if you don't know, someone in your organization does. And it's not the basic questions, right? It's the detailed questions. It's literally when someone calls, they're not asking, in most cases, how much does it cost? They're asking, if I put this module on this device, then what can I expect? Like, tell them the pricing variables.
It's really like the hacks kind of things, the little bit deeper than the FAQs. The FAQs are usually listed on your website, so it's the one step deeper than that.
Right. And that's the beauty of LinkedIn. Like, people are in a business mindset. It's not that they're not on the other platforms, but you have the opportunity with LinkedIn to just go a little more technical. Dive in deep.
I've seen LinkedIn just change so much as a platform over the last couple of years. They've made it so easy for the B2B industry to really be posting and engaging on this platform. And the algorithm, without getting like super nerdy, is so different than the other platforms. For a business to be posting on LinkedIn, your organic reach and engagement on LinkedIn is by far reaching than any of the other platforms, because the other ones are so much noisier, but also because the content gets delivered in such a different way, and even more so amplified if you're posting as a person on the platform. I just think it's super interesting how there's not a disconnect on this platform. You still need to take the same approach as you do telling your story on your personal accounts on the other platforms as you do LinkedIn. the sales content is not going to go over that great if you're just posting your products and saying buying this. You really need to tell the story and the value. Yeah, 100%. It needs to be entertaining, or it needs to add so much value to someone's life that they want to engage in a conversation rather than clicking on this link and buying the product. It's the same thing, but I feel like there's so much stigma that LinkedIn is B2B, so we should only be talking about business and sales. And I think that that's such a travesty to what you could really build your brand on LinkedIn, especially if you're a B2B company.
Yeah, I think that people don't take a step back and ask themselves, like, is this interesting to me? I mean, I'm in this world, right? Like, would I start a conversation with this? Like you said, I think the biggest mistake people make in LinkedIn is just shoving sales. They're literally just saying, buy. This is why we're better. This is why. It's advertising on the platform. And that's not what you want to do. You need to have that like balance of like interesting and a little bit maybe entertaining in some ways. And don't be afraid to showcase your personal side. That's the other thing I've heard business owners and leaders say is, oh, it's getting to be too much like Facebook. And I laugh at that because I'm like, oh, you mean because people are showing a little bit of their personality? I don't know if I would post a picture of my like beach vacation on LinkedIn, but I mean, hey.
Sometimes you got to take a break from work.
I know. But I do think that there is an opportunity there just to showcase who you are. And it's okay if it's not in your business suit.
Totally. I definitely wanted to jump in because you said bye, and I wanted to make a NSYNC bye reference, but now it's a little delayed. So the sting's a little gone, but I still did it anyways. So at the end of this episode, we're going to look at your phone. This is news to you. But Beth, you are a target. You are in an audience for someone who really B2B, right? You're a business owner. We are searching for partners, tools, any source of like support to help our business. So I want to see where you're spending your time. We also talked a lot about how you look at other people's platforms to decide whether or not to purchase. So we're going to look at your screen time today.
Okay, right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Bring out that phone. This, I think, is just really interesting in general for anybody to look at. But if you go to your screen time on your phone, and this is on Apple and Android, and you look at the amount of time that you spent on your phone, and this is where we're getting our statistics on what people are doing, and then you click on your name and you look at the last 7 days. So while you're getting ready, just I still spend the majority of my time on Facebook. I'm really not good at social media personally, but today's about you and not about me. So we're going to dive into, where are you spending your time the most on your phone?
So I put the categories and then I'll tell you the actual platforms. So the top is like by far social networking. Second is health and fitness, which you would think that would be higher, but I've been trying to put a little bit more effort into that. Third, productivity, and fourth, creativity. Fifth, entertainment. I think these are interesting as well because I use social networking for work. And I mean, that is 100% true, but I think that I'm not unique in that. I know that my brother, for example, he is in real estate. He is selling houses on Facebook Messenger, and that would come in as social networking. So, there's definitely kind of a mixed bag there. My most used app from a social perspective is Instagram. It's my favorite. I use it as entertainment. I use it to search a ton. I use it on behalf of our businesses.
Yeah, you don't post as much though.
I know, but I use it a lot. I'm constantly on that platform.
So is that where you, again, I see Beth every day, so she's coming in with like new sunglasses and new snacks. Is that where you're sourcing all of your crazy new things?
Well, you know me, I'm not I like to read, but if I'm going to read, I need like very undistracted time. Instagram allows me to visually see things, and I use it a ton for search. So I was searching the other day, like I think a recipe, and all I knew I had a product, or I, knew I was going to make something with chicken, let's say. So I just look at the hashtag like chicken recipes, and then I just visually see all these ideas, and I'm like, oh, perfect, I can do this, this, and this, and I'm going to make it.
Yeah,
today.
but you don't actually read the recipe. You're just like, it had these kind of things
exactly.
on it. So inspiration.
Yes,
100%.
inspiration,
Okay.
100%. And then I use it for shopping and kind of, I like to see.
What was the last
outfits.
thing that you purchased from an Instagram ad?
Oh, that's a good question. I get a lot of, I think it was probably some sort of clothing or something, but I find it on Instagram and then I go to Amazon.
Oh, so you don't end up purchasing it.
I actually don't. And
I
know that it really hurts the influencers because they don't get credit if I go through the Amazon app. But I do it because I already have my password and everything saved in the app. So it's kind of selfish of me, but it is what it is. So my second app is Facebook, and I that and Messages are about the next two. Safari, which obviously is search in many cases, and then Pinterest. I use Pinterest a lot as well. I use it for a search engine. I use it for blog topics if I'm looking for something for clients, or updates. If I need to help somebody with a quick update, I'll use Pinterest because a lot of times just the images will have a headline in them. And I'm like, perfect, I'll use something similar to that. It gives me good inspiration.
So I still think, the whole point of, not the point of the podcast, but part of the value we're bringing on this podcast is talking about the generations of people who are on social, not on social, and how really from a day-to-day conversations, people are breaking those status quo of like, nobody young is on Facebook anymore. And I still qualify you as young. And the fact that Facebook and Instagram, both owned by Facebook, are still your top apps that you're spending the most time on out of everything on your phone, I think that still busts the myth of younger people aren't on Facebook.
Right.
I mean, they might have a profile, but they're not using it. Clearly you have a profile and you're using it a lot.
Yeah. And I think the two other ones that, they're not as much time. So that's what we're looking at right now. They're screen time, but I'm still on them every single day, are Snapchat and my podcast. I listen to podcasts every day for sure. When I'm getting ready in the morning, doing my hair, I'm listening to a podcast. When I'm in the car, I'm listening to a podcast. When I'm on a walk, I'm listening to a podcast. And I may listen to some that are very like entertainment focused, that really provide very little like tools, tactics, productivity hacks, and others that are very in depth or really technical. And so I'm definitely listening to those every single day. And then I'm on Snapchat every single day. I have a very small circle of friends that have Snapchat that I use Snapchat with. And I really enjoy just that platform. I also have I like reading the Snapchat news articles. I know that's very like millennial of me.
News?
Yeah, it's kind of my source of news at times. And they have really good like National Geographic and...
Oh yeah, that's what you're reading.
I do read a little bit of celebrity trash, but there are some that are really good. I had some of my cooking magazines come through Snapchat, so...
Interesting though that, this question, right, was B2B LinkedIn specifically. LinkedIn was not in your top 5 and you're a CEO. So I'm just going to leave that there and we'll definitely talk about that on another episode.
Oh yeah, I break the mold on that one.